Sorry about that, I was just getting into Mittelstadt mode. That guy'll sneak up on you. Avs win over the Utah Hockey Club 5-1. Look, it's the Halloween spirit. I gotta get into it a little bit, right? This game was 2 periods of a defensive clinic, and the Avs trick-or-treating on Utah basically whenever they wanted, and then 1 period that wasn't really hockey at all, and the Avs just simply waiting for the game to end. Frankly, while this game was competitive, the Avs gave Utah virtually nothing. There was just no opportunity for them to effectively play offense in this game. That isn't to say it was perfect, though. Early in the game, Josh Manson takes a penalty. That's an opportunity for Utah. Thankfully, the Avs penalty kill was locked in and great tonight, but those are the types of mistakes that will eventually cost you if you keep making them. But from that moment on, the Avs pretty much just decided to do whatever they wanted with Utah, and that was to play a slow, rather grindy game for a lot of it, but they dominated Utah with that. It's a new facet to the Avs that we haven't seen that much of since their cup year. It's definitely present in their game this year. They will grind you out, especially now that they've gotten their act together with a goaltender. If they get a lead, this is not a fun team to play against. They still are quite fast and dangerous though, and when you give the Avs opportunities, at the very least they draw penalties, and that power play with Colton in the middle is still very good. Alright, so the Avs are kind of defending on their power play right now. That's not great, but I gotta show this. I give Mikko Rantanen a lot of junk about how sometimes he gets lazy and is poor defensively. This is Mikko getting back, stepping up on a guy, poke-checking the puck off of his stick clean to help spring the Avs on their own power play. That's good defensive work. He deserves some credit. This is just a normal Avs power play entry. From there, McKinnon take puck, get puck across the line. Mittelstadt does a good job of using the time and space he has. He waits until pretty much the last possible moment to turn and find a disgusting pass to Mikko. Honestly, that's beyond the last possible moment. He absorbed the contact and still made that play. Mikko coming in late finds the soft spot, and because he's better than most other players, he's going to figure out a way to get this pass and puck across to Ross Colton, who then gets to do his finishing thing on the power play. Alright, so that's not really him being in the bumper slot, right? But a still very nice finish and 2 fantastic plays to get that thing set up for Colton. This was a little bit of an interesting scenario. The Avs actually failed to score on a 5-on-3 there, and this was the ensuing power play, so it's maybe not quite as clean as you would have hoped, but it still got the job done to get the Avs the lead. I'm jumping ahead here a bit, but Ross Colton would get hurt in this game, and that is kind of devastating. Obviously, he's been so good with that top line and on that power play, so it definitely hurts the Avs if this injury ends up being something significant. But beyond that, their lineup is just incredibly thin at forward, especially now without Cal Ritchie. He's pretty tough to replace. Thankfully, they might not need to if Casey Mittelstadt keeps playing as well as he has. We'll get more into Casey later, though. I'm going to be honest, for a lot of this game, the Utah team the Avs were playing against looked shell-shocked. This felt like a team waking up to what an actual good team looks like in the NHL. And I know that might be a little brazen of me to say for an Avs team that winning this game just got back to 500, but I believe it's true. I believe the Avs are one of the best teams in the NHL, and Utah found that out in this game. So it's a good first period, but you know what would make it better? Cale Makar extending his point streak. When the Avs are clicking, they make these breakout transitions look so easy. Quick little tiny passes out off the boards to their players into passing lanes and skating lanes. It's just so easy, and yet we see them turn these pucks over when they aren't clicking. The difference is so slim. When it works, yeah, everything just goes your way. This is more good work. Kovalenko, a nice find from Mikko, to find Mikko there rather, and then Mikko again. The Avs are so good at sucking players in on the defensive side. He takes the space, and that leaves space for Makar, and Mikko's a good enough player to chip passes to players in open ice. Makar, with the space, is able to get inside the top of the circles, and this puck does beat the goalie, technically. Hey, don't get me wrong, I think Cale Makar is the truth, but Karel Vejmelka's got to make that save. That is a cheap one for Cale. Nonetheless, it is still a goal for Cale, his 3rd of the season and his 15th point of the season. The first defenseman since Bobby Orr to be the first to that mark in an NHL year. An A1 period for the Avs, even if it did start a little bit slow, and the second was kind of more of the same. I do think the Avs took their foot off the gas a little bit in this second period. You would like them to do a better job there. Another Josh Manson penalty at the start of the period didn't help. But once again, the Avs just didn't give anything up, so it's not that big of a deal that they weren't jamming it down Utah's throat. Through the first 2 periods of this game at 5-on-5, the Avs only gave up 2 high-danger chances. That's how you're supposed to play with a 2-goal lead. Don't give up anything for free. You freeze out the other team for long enough, that's when Casey Mittelstadt sneaks up on you. I want you to watch Mittelstadt through this entire shift here. There are other players doing other good things, but Mittelstadt is collecting this puck. He immediately finds an open man in a dangerous area in LOC. It does not quite connect, so the Avs reset. LOC sends this up top, and Mittelstadt immediately goes right to the net front area, right to the dangerous parts of the ice. He's not doing anything complicated here. He just committed to the details to do the right things. As this puck comes over to Malinsky, you can see Mittelstadt has now attracted 2 different players to him in the dangerous area, which means as Malinsky skates down the wall here, you've opened up space. This quick little tic-tac from Kovalenko now has options for Malinsky to walk into just because Mittelstadt went to the middle of the ice. From there, Malinsky eventually gets pushed in and around the net, and Mittelstadt just continues to find the right positioning. He puts himself in a place in front of Logan Cooley, so if a puck comes to the middle, if a bounce happens, he's going to be the guy ready, and they just don't see it coming. Really, I think Malinsky on this wrap is trying to hit O'Connor net front, but Mittelstadt just sneaks away. He just finds little gaps, so when a loose puck comes through, he's going to be unmolested, and he makes it an easy finish. Great to see Casey casually finish that one, but I want to make this a little bit more clear. This is a 5-on-5 goal from Mittelstadt, and the assists come from Sam Malinsky and Nikolai Kovalenko. It ends up being a multi-point night for Kovalenko. Casey Mittelstadt is playing with Kovalenko and Logan O'Connor on that second line. The D pairing on that one was obviously Malinsky and also Calvin DeHaan. Mittelstadt is making everyone around him better, whether it's opportunities on the power play where he gets with the top players, or it's 5-on-5 opportunities with players that honestly are probably playing a little bit above their station. It doesn't matter. He shows out, he plays his game, he understands the ice and who's he's playing with, and he makes everyone better. It's crucial to the Colorado Avalanche in their current state as they're getting more injured instead of less. If Ross Colton is going to miss some time, Mittelstadt becomes pretty much the only reliable depth scorer not actively playing with your top guys. He was kind of already that anyway, with Ross Colton getting promoted to the top line. You will get production from otherwhere sometimes, particularly the Avs defense, but Mittelstadt is a big difference maker in that he can help you get that next goal, the important goal. At 2-0, Utah still feels like they're in this game. At 3-0, that mountain gets really hard to climb. And from there, Utah folds in on themselves. They take penalties, and the Avs right now, you do not want to be taking penalties against. Yeah, you've already seen this goal a bunch of times, so I'm not going to break it down too much, but it's typical power play stuff. I will say Mittelstadt being cute, having some fun behind the net when it's up 3-0, yeah, you can do some of that stuff. Ultimately, though, this is the same play the Avs run with Ross Colton at the bumper. It's just Ivan sitting there. McKinnon is able to find him, and a good shot from Ivan gets the Avs another goal. Ivan filling in for Ross Colton on that power play in the bumper spot. Either that dude can shoot it, or maybe Ross's job was easier than I thought on that power play. If I'm being honest, it's probably a little bit of both. Either way, the first goal of his NHL career for Ivan. Look, I think I've been wrong about Ivan. I didn't think he had what it takes to make the Avs this year, and then he shows up and has a great camp, and I still thought he probably would just miss the lineup. And to be fair, he probably got a little bit lucky with some injury timings for him to sneak in and earn that roster spot. But once he got the roster spot, he's been nothing but solid for the Avs. He turned what I expected to be a reasonably short call-up into quality minutes, and now we might realistically be talking about keeping Ivan in the lineup over some of these other potential depth options. Kiviranta also has been scoring, so that makes it a little bit tough, but he's certainly ahead of Chris Wagner. He's certainly ahead of Matt Steinberg. He's also playing center, so that gives him a little bit of flexibility on where he is in the lineup. I don't think he's really challenging for Parker Kelly's job, but Kelly has been pretty poor in the face-off circle, and the adjustment to center hasn't been the best. If things keep going a certain way, Ivan might just be an NHLer now. Anyway, there really isn't a ton to say about Utah's game here. They just got pretty outplayed for 2 full periods, and the Avs cruised a 4-goal lead into the third. And I'll be upfront with you, the third period was a bad period for the Colorado Avalanche, but that was I don't want to say on purpose, but the Avs certainly geared it down. It's a 4-goal lead. This game is all but over. The Avs did not need to stress about this one. The Avs nearly packed it in when it comes to the offensive side of the ice. They weren't taking any risks at all, and given that Colton was out of the game at this point, no doubt it was on their minds that they just wanted to get out of here without anyone else getting hurt. So sure, Utah dominated the Avs in the third period by the possession metrics. That is true. But that wasn't a real hockey period. It wasn't the Avs putting in the effort to try and possess the puck and counter them. They just kind of let Utah do what they want, and to be honest with you, they still couldn't muster all that much. From a hockey perspective, I totally get it. An 82-game season is a real long run. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you have to find ways to conserve energy where you can. The Avs did a good job of that here. I am still annoyed that they didn't get Eustace the shutout, though. Utah is going to take the puck away from Mittelstadt and the Avs deep in their own zone, and they break out quickly. And right here, everything's fine. You have all 5 Utah players on the ice, and you have 3 guys back. Now, Kovalenko does get caught a little bit. Honestly, I'm not sure where he's going. He needs to stick in this passing lane and maybe prevent this in the first place. But here's the actual problem on this play. Look at Calvin DeHaan right here. He is fully committed. He's turned. He's skating back towards his own net with his feet facing his own goalie. He doesn't know this, but he needs to stay in this position. As the puck gets collected, look, this is a very clear Malinsky taking the man on his side of the ice. This is going to be DeHaan's guy. And DeHaan just does not recognize the speed coming at him. He thinks he has enough of a gap to where he can turn and start skating backwards again and be able to keep up and keep the play in front of him. But he just can't. It's just not quite effective enough, and ultimately, because he turned around, he ends up getting blown by on his man. That's his guy on his side of the ice. He has to be the man responsible for keeping that in front of him, and he just misread the play. The breakaway, unfortunately, is not going to get stopped by IN ONT this time. That's bad defense. It is, 100%. Just what it is. And other than the shutout, I don't care. If you're going to have a poor defensive play, have it in a game that is over. It had 0 impact on the outcome of the game, and it's a play you can look at and clean up without any repercussions. It's the best time to make a mistake, and you make mistakes every hockey game. That one you can't make if it's a 3-2 game, so don't make it again, but hey, mistakes happen. And while the Avs don't get the shutout, they do at very least immediately answer that goal. I will give the Avs a little bit of credit here. This game is over, but they're still doing good work. This is some of your depth guys. It's a nice step up by Malinsky to cause chaos, and you see the Avs stick with this play. Ivan is going to step in and make this puck jar loose. He's not going to get credited with an assist, but he jars this puck loose, and that allows Kiviranta, to find a puck and have a little bit of room. It's probably not a goal that should have been scored, but you put a good shot on and good things happen, especially if you're Kivi right now. Safe to say it was not a good night for Karel Vejmelka in Utah's net. Nonetheless, while Kiviranta has the secret sauce, you might as well go with it. It's a dominant win. I think the Avs should feel great about themselves because they owned this game, and more importantly, they've gotten themselves back to 500. They go a perfect 3-0 on the road trip. They've done the hard work to dig themselves out of the hole that they put themselves in to start the season. It has to keep up, though. 500 is not good enough. You can't feel good about being 500. Go win a few more games, and then you've really done the job. And finally, Eustace, for his 3rd straight game, looked great. Deserved a shutout tonight. Unfortunately, did not get it, but yes, the Avs made his life easy. Cool. The Colorado Avalanche are going to make your goaltender's life easy a lot of nights. You still got to make the saves that you're asked to make. And Eustace did that for the 3rd straight game. Is he the starter? I think it's hard to put labels on it right now for Colorado on what their goaltenders are, but he should be the guy in prime position for the moment. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. I am Rudo, and spooky season do be kind of fun when you're winning.